cameras come in all shapes and sizes here at the photography show. Haven't seen one like this before. Here to tell me more is Lawrence from Matterport. Lawrence, what have you brought with you here today?
So what we're seeing here is the Matterport Pro 2 3D camera. This is a special camera that works with our software and gathers both 3D geometric data and optical data necessary to digitize real-life assets.
Okay, so let's look at the camera first of all before we start looking at the use cases for that. What's in here? What are we looking at optically and capture-wise?
So we've got 6 dual optical lenses which capture at 136 megapixels.
Okay.
They also utilize HDR, so they're taking multiple light exposures on every rotation. And then we have the infrared sensors which are laying out a grid coordinate to calculate 3D geometry of the surrounding area.
And I noticed they're kind of pointing straight up and down. You mentioned the rotation here. How many exposures is it taking on its 360 journey?
So as it rotates, it will take 5 different light exposure levels at 5 different points. So what will actually happen is these light exposures will get married together, and this will eliminate any kind of noise and artifacts.
Okay, so that's all cool. Thank you for talking me through the tech bit. That keeps me happy. But what happens then, because this is the other part of what Matterport does, isn't it, in terms of creating something that is useful to businesses, to real estate agents, and to lots of other use cases as well?
So I mean, essentially what the camera is doing is it's collecting the data that's necessary for our processing pipeline to generate the 3D rendering and to create the imagery that runs alongside that. So what we're doing here is we're feeding information into our servers, and then our servers is basically spitting out the result.
How is that going to be useful? I mean, I mentioned estate agents looking to build out a plan if they're going to be selling a home and putting it on the market one way or another. Who else is this going to be particularly beneficial for?
That's exactly right. So things like estate agents for marketing purposes are a huge market for us. Yeah. However, I would also point to industries like construction, architecture, surveying, wherein we can assist them in the 3D modeling process, as well as other industries such as hospitality, restaurants, bars, hotels, whatever it might be.
You know, I first saw Matterport on one of my social media timelines, and even though it's not a consumer product so much, or at all really, it still presents itself as a consumer product in as much as you see it, it makes sense, your jaw drops a little bit, you go, wow, that is really cool. The footage that you have telling the story of this and what it's able to output, I think is really, really compelling for consumers. That makes it attractive as well to businesses.
Well, I mean, that's exactly right. Basically, there's a big push right now for businesses and essentially anyone with a built environment to digitize their assets. Yeah. And we're essentially trying to bridge that gap. Right now, the marketplace is dominated by very expensive individual units, and we're coming in at a much more reasonable price point, and we're a lot simpler to use than these higher end products.
Well, listen, thank you very much indeed for coming along to the photography and video show this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.